Hello, everyone. Today we're jumping into a really interesting topic that touches on faith, family, and the law. We're going to be talking all about the inheritance rights of adopted children in Islam. So let's get right into it.
And hey, welcome to Modakar channel. We're so glad to have you. Islamic inheritance can be pretty complex, especially in places like Indonesia, where there's a lot of specific terminology. So we'll be breaking down some of those key terms as we go, which should be super helpful, especially if you happen to be learning Indonesian.
All right, let's get straight to the big question, the one at the heart of our entire discussion today. In Islam, do adopted children actually inherit from their adoptive parents? It seems like a simple question, but trust me, there's a lot of depth to it. Okay, first things first. Let's get some vocabulary down. The Indonesian term for an adopted child is anak angkat. You're going to hear this phrase a lot, so keep it in mind as we explore how Islamic law makes provisions for an anak angkat. So, if you're looking for the simple, direct answer to our question, it's no. An anak angkat doesn't automatically get a share of the inheritance like a biological child would. But, and this is a really big but, that is absolutely not the end of the story. Not even close.
So you're probably wondering, okay, why is that the rule? Well, to understand the why behind it, we've got to go directly to the foundational source text in Islam, the Quran itself.
The whole thing really hinges on a crucial concept called nisab. Now, nisab basically means blood lineage or kinship. And Islamic inheritance law is built from the ground up around this principle of direct blood ties and, of course, marriage. And you can see this spelled out very clearly in the Quran. This verse from Surah Al-Ahzab draws a very clear line. An adoptive relationship, which is so important and valued, isn't legally the same as a biological one. And the instruction to call adopted children by their birth father's name really drives home the importance of nasab. And that idea is built on elsewhere too. For instance, a verse in another chapter, Surah An-Nisa, lays out who the primary heirs are. It specifically mentions parents and close relatives. So again, you see that reinforcement of the blood relationship. Okay, so to wrap up this first part, the automatic inheritance system is specifically for people connected by nasab, that's bloodline, or by marriage. And that's why an anak angkat isn't part of that automatic calculation. But what happens next? Well, that's where the compassion really comes into play. And that brings us to the solutions. See, Islam provides these really clear, really compassionate pathways to make sure that an anak angkat is always cared for and provided for. That initial no is definitely not a closed door. And that is the key thing to remember here. Even though they aren't automatic heirs, there are specific legal tools that parents are actually encouraged to use to give a share of their wealth to their adopted children. Let's take a look at two of the big ones. So path number one is a super powerful legal instrument called wasiyat wajibah. If you translate that, it basically means an obligatory bequest. It's a formal instruction that you put in a will. So what is it exactly? Well, a wasiyat wajibah lets parents set aside a part of their estate up to a maximum of 1/3 of the total for someone who isn't a prescribed heir. This is the perfect way to provide for an anak angkat. It all takes effect after the parents have passed on, as part of their final will. All right, now for the second path. This one is called hibah. And this is another great Indonesian term to know. It simply means a gift. A hibah is very different from a bequest in a will. It's a gift. It could be assets, property, you name it. that parents give to their anak angkat while they're still alive. And the crucial difference is that the ownership transfers right away. It's a direct, immediate gift. So let's put them side by side, because it really helps clarify things. Wasiat wajibah is a bequest. It's part of a will, it happens after death, and it's capped at 1/3 of the estate. A hibah, on the other hand, is a gift. It's given during the parent's lifetime, and the transfer is immediate. See? Two different tools, both designed for the same loving reason.
So when you put all these pieces together, what do you get? You see a system that's been very carefully designed to strike a balance. A balance between sacred legal rules and just deep human compassion.
And this slide right here really gets to the heart of the philosophy. You have these two goals working together. First, you uphold the rights of biological children, the anak kandung, as laid out in the sacred texts. And at the same time, you make sure that kasih sayang, or loving compassion, is shown to the anak angkat, so they are never left behind. This beautiful balance is seen as a form of keadilan Islam, Islamic justice in action.
And this kind of leaves us with a really fascinating final thought, doesn't it? This whole framework is one answer to a truly universal challenge. It really makes you think, how do all the different cultures and legal systems across the globe try to find that balance between their sacred laws and that powerful human need for compassion and care?
Well, that's a wrap for this explainer. Thank you so much for joining us on Motelcar channel. We really hope you found this helpful and maybe a little thought-provoking. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe.